The first night I slept in my missing grandpa's apartment, a puppet came out of the wall and stood over my bed. No, I don't want to read this. Hello, book nerds. How are you doing on this fine day? Welcome back to In Between the Lines. If you're new here, hello, my name is Noah, and we do reviews on books. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, bless me. The review that we're doing today was voted on by you lovely people on Discord, Twitter, and YouTube about what book are we going to be doing a live reading of, which we did on Twitch, which was I Found Puppets Living in My Apartment Walls by Ben Farthing. This was free on Kindle Unlimited, luckily enough, which is very good. So a little bit of information about the book. So I Found Puppets in My Apartment Walls was written obviously by Ben Farthing, who writes horror novellas. This book is 160 pages and was published August this year. So what can I tell you about this book? So in this book we follow Johnny and his cousin Brittany, who are living in this apartment at the moment, apartment that their granddad lived in. They're basically sorting it out at the moment, as their granddad for the past year has been missing. So the main thing that you need to know about this apartment is it used to be a studio for the R-City puppets. Basically, it's like Sesame Street, but this studio was converted into apartments where his granddad, who was a puppeteer, with some of the other people who also worked in the studio, live. The whole premise of this thing is that while they're trying to sort this out, while their granddad's been missing for a year and has been officially classified as dead, our boy Johnny at some point wakes up to see a giant 5-foot puppet looming down on him. Yeah, this puppet is looming down on him. He is terrified, and so would I, because I do not like puppets. Like, I grew up watching the Muppets, but it's I don't like it. The whole story is basically on loss and grief, how you come to terms with it, and also dealing with the horrors of puppets. So we're going to go into what we normally do, which is characters, story/plot, world building, rereadability, and fun fact, and then we'll go into our review. So characters, these are the main characters. We have Johnny and Brittany. Now, Johnny and Brittany are cousins. Brittany is the optimist and Johnny is the complete opposite, which is nice to have these two characters who clash against each other. Just personality-wise, because while Johnny brings everything kind of down and he really makes it feel very much like a horror, Brittany's there to be like, you know what, it's cool, it's fine, this is going to work in our favor, and I love that. We also have the knowledge of the grandfather. I believe his name is Albert. We have Martha and Rob, which worked with the granddad on the show. They were the NPCs, the people who lived in this apartment that the studio where the puppets worked. And you know what it is when they have people who just like live with puppets in the shows and they just live with them like in harmony. That's what they were. What can I tell you about the characters? There's not really much. It doesn't really revolve around the characters per se. Well, Martha was like the mother of the show and Rob was like the grandfather of the show. That's kind of really the thing. It kind of gives you, it builds up more on nostalgia more than anything with the characters, because it was like, yeah, these were your childhood grandparents, these were your childhood friends and puppets that you learned things with, to do with friends and you know, just the alphabet and learning what is right and wrong and what friendship really is. It builds up on that. The way that the story is written is very well done. And it definitely builds up on that feeling of how creepy it really is. The plot itself, it starts off slow and it builds up to this like crescendo. And I want to say it's well done, but the main thing is the plot moves. It starts off extremely well slow and it does build up for it has that drop. Perfect. World building. The world is built around the studio of where these puppets were recorded and filmed, so you don't really see much of the outside world. It's all about this studio and what's within the guts of this studio, within the walls. Very well written with that. It brings forward like the claustrophobia of not only just like standard situations of life and dealing with things, but also physically as well. It brings the claustrophobia. Horror, absolutely. It brings all this forth. It brings an atmosphere, especially for the first half. It's absolutely fantastic. Not so much the second half, but that's okay, we'll get to that. Re-readability. It's a short book, it's 160 pages. I could happily read this book again, but there was just certain moments where I struggled. And we'll go into that a little bit more in detail when I tell you about my review. The fun factor, it is a very fun book, and the way that things are described when certain things happen, it's extremely creepy. And I love my horror. I love how when things creep me out, and I think that's genuinely freaks me out a little bit. Love stuff like that, but there's certain parts in the book where it's not fun because publishing, and I will go more into that in a second. So my rating and review, I am going to rate this 3 out of 5. Now, here is the reason. Yes, it's a good book. Yes, it's very creepy. It's very good for 106 pages. It gives me that claustrophobia. It gives me that horror, that creepy feeling, the nostalgia, claustrophobia, all the stuff that we've talked about so far. It gives that in a very nice molded ball. It's like someone gave me this really nice inflated ball, and it just started to deflate a little bit as the story got on. Because there was publishing issues with spelling. So Martha originally for the first half of the story was known as Marta, and then all of a sudden the H appeared, and then it went away, and then it appeared again. This story has basically been influenced by Five Nights at Freddy's, the game My Friendly Neighborhood, which I really need to play and stream at some point. And it's like they would just mush together and they create this like demonic puppet baby. And it is very well done. It is very well done. No one else has done this. And I love the idea of puppets living in the walls. It freaks me out so much. And the first half of the story was very well done, very well written, very creepy. I mean, I had nightmares about the first half. Like, genuinely, I could not sleep properly. I flicked the lights on in my flat, my little flat. But the second half of the book just went crazy. Now, it was like Ben couldn't decide how to go forward with the rest of the story. He built this all up, this beautiful picture, this beautiful, like, point. And then it was like, okay, I don't know what to do here. And it just, I would love to say like it was a crescendo, and the crescendo was like batshit crazy. But I would have liked it if he knew what he was doing towards the end, because it was like he had no idea what to do, and he just went, nah, fuck it. Everything's gonna happen. And I kind of wished it was different in that regard. But at the same time, if he was to write a second book for this, because the ending, it was very open-ended. If he was to write a second book for this, I would read it. I would absolutely read it. Now, with Ben, the main thing is that he only started writing 2020, and he's written 9 books. This is one of them. And he's a very good author for writing short horror novellas. But at the same time, you can still feel and still see that he's still finding his voice. Now, reading this, he is so close. Like, the first half of the book was amazing. He is so close to finding and perfecting his voice. And I'm kind of excited about this because there's like a journey that we're all going on as he keeps writing these books. So I definitely say read the books for sure. And I can't wait for his next ones to come out because, you know what? Yeah, sure, I gave him 3 stars, but like I said, new author, he's only been writing since 2020. Still finding his voice. You can see that, and he's getting there. You can definitely tell that he's getting there. He's so close, so close. And it's like an adventure we're all on, and I'm excited about that. Definitely go read the book. I want to see what you all think, what your reactions are for certain things that happen in it. Thank you so much for watching this video and the review. Really appreciate it. Would love to know what your thoughts are. If you've read anything similar, because this is the first time I've read something to do with like puppets and horror for this kind of thing. I know I read How to Sell a Haunted House. That was a little bit different. This is puppets, puppeteering. This is puppeteering puppets. So I would like to know if you have actually found anything like that yourselves. Right, I'm going to go pop off. I'm going to start reading the next book and sort out the next review. But yeah, be amazing, be good, make good decisions in life, and I'll catch you very soon. Cheers. Until I first met you, I was lonesome. And when you came inside, dear, my heart grew light, and this whole world seemed new to me.